Please be seated. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to the inaugural professorial lecture of Professor Charitha Jayaruk, Associate Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences at the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology. We extend our heartfelt greetings to Chancellor Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Nimal Rajpaksha, our esteemed orator Professor Charitha Jayaruk, Pro Vice Chancellor Academic Professor Rahul Attalage, Pro Vice Chancellor Computing, Professor Nuwan Kodagoda, Deans of the Faculties, Heads of Department, Academic and Administrative colleagues, and all our esteemed guests. We also extend a very special and heartfelt welcome to the beloved mother of Professor Charitha Jayaruk, whose presence today adds immense meaning to this proud and memorable occasion. Today, we gather to honor the academic journey of Professor Jayaruk, who has been promoted to the rank of full professor at SLIIT. These lectures are focal moments within the academic community, providing newly promoted professors with a platform to showcase their accomplishments, share their research, and contribute to the intellectual discourse of our institution and beyond. As we commence today's proceedings, it is my great honor and privilege to invite a person whose leadership and vision have been instrumental in the growth and success of our institution. Please join me in welcoming Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka to deliver the opening remarks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor, Provost, Professor Nimal Rajpaksha, Pro Vice Chancellors, Deans of Faculties, Professor Jayaruk, well-wishers, especially Professor Jayaruk's mother, and our colleagues at SLIIT. It is a great pleasure for me to welcome all of you for this very important lecture given to you by Professor Charitha Jayaruk, who has been recently appointed as a full professor at SLIT in the Faculty of Sciences and Humanities. The inaugural lecture of a professor is a tradition which came from the Western countries. In the Western countries, they have a rigorous way of appointing a professor. They don't have a marking scheme like us, but they go by references and acceptable to a fairly large number of professors of eminence. In Sri Lanka, of course, we have a different way of evaluating a professor. Of course, that too is rigorous, but based on a point scheme. It is a great pleasure to note that Professor Jayaruk has achieved this target of becoming a full professor at a relatively young age, which is a great achievement for a person to get a professor who is under 40 years. Because we do a very rigorous assessment to award the professorship at SLIT. He has a very passionate idea about research. Not only that, he is very passionate to serve the community and the society. This is very important for all the professors and even any academic in a university, because we are there not only for the institution but for the entire community. As a professor especially, you have to serve the community, and I am well aware that Professor Jayaruk is doing that through SLIT as well as through Sri Lanka Association for Advancement of Science, and maybe through other organizations as well. He is very happy to do that, and it has contributed immensely to improve the image of our institution, the SLIT, and also to improve the science education in Sri Lanka, which is also very important, because these days doing science may not be, or mathematics may not be a priority for school-going children. They have been promoting science through SLAS at various levels. And we are very grateful to Professor Jayaruk for bringing honor to the scientific community and also to our institute, SLIT. I don't want to speak a lot, because we have come here, gathered here, to listen to Professor Jayaruk. I wish him all success and good luck in his future work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your insightful and inspiring thoughts. I now warmly invite Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor, Professor Nimal Rajpaksha, to introduce our esteemed orator.
Good afternoon. Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, Chairman and Chancellor of SLIIT, Pro-Vice Chancellors, Deans, colleagues from academic departments, non-academic staff members, well-wishers, especially the mother of Professor Jayaruk, who is here in the audience today. So we warmly welcome you to this event. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce Professor Charitha Jayaruk, and I will go back to his school days, where he had his early education at Richmond College at Gaul, and then he went to University of Colombo for a degree BSc in pharmacy. He obtained that in 2011, and then proceeded to United States of America to pursue his PhD, receiving his PhD in 2017 from the University of Alabama. And after his PhD, he came and joined SLIIT. So he has been with us actually for almost 8+ years now. And we are very happy that, because here is somebody that I think as an institution we can be very proud of, because all his development and the career post PhD has been built in this place, right? So he was not somebody who came from another institution to SLIIT, but immediately after PhD joined us and contributed a lot in terms of the development of the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences. He has contributed to the development of curriculum in the programs of biotechnology and various other areas, and then also a substantial amount of work he has contributed to the development of the laboratory infrastructure. If you go and look at actually the labs in the School of Applied Science, in chemistry, I have first-hand knowledge because some of my students have used that in the past, and then also in areas like biotechnology, where he has contributed a lot. And as Professor Ratnayaka mentioned, this event is primarily to celebrate his appointment as a professor. And we have a scheme at SLIIT. We follow the University Grants Commission plus few other additional criteria in appointing someone as a professor, and he has met that bar. But I think, as Professor Ratnayaka mentioned also, that we have to look at promotions beyond formulas or schemes. Because at the end of the day, your professorship is something that has to be recognized by the broader community of scientists and researchers in your own discipline and other disciplines. And I think I'm very pleased to say that he has met that mark also. Because I think, as you know, this year he has become one of the top 2% researchers in the world based on his publication record in 2024. Now that is a total independent evaluation, not done by anyone in Sri Lanka, by people outside, totally, people in his community who has read his papers and referred to his work. So that itself brings a lot of honor in terms of his own record and also to the SLIIT. Now let me also tell you a little bit about his research interest. I think it's very difficult to actually identify what's his research interest, because the moment he sees something exciting and interesting, he is there to grab it and to work on it. But I think the one thing that I must say that is most important about Professor Jayaruk is he is a team worker, because he actually works with others, works with people who are totally different and outside this discipline. So about 4 years ago, he started working with me. We have jointly supervised the Master of Philosophy student. We have some publications also together. And similarly, I think he works with people around this campus and then also people outside SLIIT, including some of his collaborators at the international universities. So that is again something that we are very proud of him as a researcher, and then his willingness to actually work with people. As Professor Ratnayaka mentioned, he's also done something that is not very common, which is to actually take the science to the community and to show the importance of science, and particularly to young people. And I know that through the first-hand knowledge of the current president of SLAS, that who has made very positive remarks about his contribution to SLAS, going to schools, going to various science-related exhibitions, and talking to students, talking to schools, and so on. So thank you again, that it clearly shows your commitment to actually your chosen discipline of chemistry and the broader field of sciences, and for the contribution you have made actually to engage the future scientists of Sri Lanka. And I think about a couple of days ago, we had the National Science and Technology Week. We had 2 days actually at SLIIT, where he contributed a lot. In fact, he was one of the most active people in terms of organizing that event, in showing our laboratories together with the Faculty of Computing as well as the Faculty of Engineering. So thank you very much. I don't want to talk too much because this is your day and the podium belongs to you. So once again, as an institution, it's a great honor for me to actually introduce you, somebody who has done very well and someone I think SLIIT is very proud of. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Rajpaksha, for that meaningful interaction. Your words have set the perfect tone for what promises to be an inspiring and thought-provoking lecture. Now, it is with great anticipation that we turn our attention to our esteemed speaker, Professor Jayaruk. Professor Jayaruk, the stage is yours to deliver the professorial lecture.
Good afternoon, everyone. My dear mother, Mrs. Kusumaya Mulla, Chancellor of SLIIT, Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, though he is not here, Vice Chancellor of SLIIT, Professor Lalit Gamage, Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor and Provost, Professor Nimal Rajpaksha, Pro-Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Rahul Attalage, Dean of my own faculty, Faculty of Humanities and Sciences, Dr. Malitha Vijayasundara, Dean, Faculty of Engineering, Professor Ayantha Gomez, Dean, School of Business, Professor Suren Peter, Dean, Quality Assurance and Academic Development, Professor Colleen Pires, though she is not here, my former head, Professor Sriyana Pires as well. I was asked to do this professorial lecture, and on the day that I was asked by our previous HR director, Chatuska, I was wondering what I'm going to talk about, and I was thinking truly I was thinking whether am I suitable enough to come to a stage and talk about this. But then, when I recall about my past, I realized that, yes, after my PhD, after joining SLIIT, I believe that I have done something to the institute and something to the country. So it's all about my journey, and my journey I have titled as Bridging Science and Society from Ideas to Impact, because I always believe that I am coming from a middle-class family. So yes, there is a duty that we all have to do to the society. I do understand that we have reached different ranks in our lives, but now it's our time to turn back and serve to the society, to the country, and to the world. I'll start with my family, and I promise you that I'm going to be very quick in this slide. So this is the common photograph that we use in any function about our family. So that's my father, and I lost him even before I went to school. That cute baby is me. It's a shock now that appearance has totally changed. And my mother, the legend, my life, basically, my sister, and that is basically my sister's small family, my brother and my sister, and my nephew, who invaded my position in my family and who became our life in 2014. He's Binuka. I'll tell his name because otherwise it's going to be a huge argument. So with that, let me show you my overview of my speech. I'll talk about my academic development, institutional development, and my contribution to the research, then about the science communication and national service. So with that, let me move to my school. I'm from Southern Province, I'm from Galle, and my school is Richmond College, Galle. And from grade 1 to 13, I attended this school. And I believe if a person called Jayaruk is standing in front of you, it's because of this school. The Methodist touch, I might be wrong, but the Methodist touch, which turned out to be a Buddhist school after about 100 years, turned all the school students to have some discipline, and I believe that I'm so proud to come from the farthest school of Southern Province. So yes, I was busy in the class, I can't say no, but more than that, I was busy in the main hall over there. The school students who are attending Richmond College today, they have like a grand main hall, but at that time, that was the main hall which was built by fathers. Why did I spend I would say 90% of my school time over there? Because I was so busy with the English Day competitions, with the drama competitions, with the oratory competitions, with the choir practices. So before the school time, I was there. And then right after my school time, again I was there. So if someone asks me what is the place that you love in the school, that's the main hall. So let me move on. Basically, I always believe that English touch has given me it turned me to a different person, not in a discriminative tone I'm saying this, but always believe this English touch gave me it turned out me to be a person with disciplines. Then, of course, after passing the A-levels, I did in bioscience. I got selected to the University of Colombo, where an academic started to born to the world. If I am standing here as an academic, I always believe that I do have some resemblance of my teachers. Why I'm saying like that? Sometimes when I go to the class to teach chemistry, I do feel that like I'm imitating my teachers. Automatically, I'm not in intention, but yeah, automatically that happens from my side. So people believe that as my special degree is pharmacy, so I'm a student of the chemistry department, which is a myth. University of Colombo graduates could be here, so I always say that I'm a student of University of Colombo, and more precisely, I'm a student of the Faculty of Science, because in the first 2 years, I followed plant science, chemistry, and biochemistry. So I cannot say that I am a student of the chemistry department, because lecturers from the plant science department has catered me, has taught me. So the beautiful, I always believe this is the decent education hub of the country. And with that, in the 4th year, I was supposed to select a research topic, and take my word, I knew nothing about nanotechnology, and I heard that word on the day that the topics were dispersed. And for some reason, I wanted to get that, and I selected that topic. I knew nothing about nanotechnology. What a nanoparticle is? No, nothing. So my friends asked the question, are you sure that you are going to do this research project? I said, okay, fine, let me take that challenge and learn something. So these are the two personalities who basically taught me what nanotechnology is. So it's Professor Nalin T. Silva, who is heading the chemistry department at this moment, and Professor Rohini T. Silva. And of course, my research topic was on antifungal activity of manganese-doped zinc oxide nanoparticles. And when it comes to the antifungal activity, probably the science experts would know that I have to be a specialist about the laminar flow, about the cultures, subcultures, and everything. So a person who is specializing in the stream of pharmacy, or basically in chemistry, would not know about the techniques correctly. That legend of the country, who is not with us anymore, Professor Ravi Vijayasundara, taught me everything. And today we are talking about publishing papers, but 14 years ago, we did not have a belief of publishing papers, but I could simply present my undergraduate work at SLAS in its annual sessions. So right after graduating from University of Colombo, of course, I served close to 1 year as a demonstrator, and then I got the scholarship from the University of Alabama, USA, to do my PhD in analytical chemistry. So basically, when I went to University of Alabama, the main triggering factor for me is to find a supervisor who would do a research in nanobiotechnology. because I was so passionate about finding a drug using nanoparticles, because I was keeps reading about that. But when I went over there, I got a scholarship for 5 years, and I realized that after a few months, no, finding a drug is not a 5-year job. So I had to face to that reality, and then I realized that you will have to work a lot for that, and might be you will end up with one paper, which is not the which is not the evaluation criteria for a PhD at that time. So I decided to change. So automatically, I had to give up that vision at that time, and then move to the nanotechnology towards physical side. So basically, from my training, I'm a physical chemist, and then my coursework was totally on analytical chemistry, but that's how the transcript says. But according to me and according to my dissertation committee, I have been doing courses in different departments. So yes, I was a student in the chemistry department, the beautiful department over there. When on the very first day that I saw the architecture, I got shocked. So it's a very old university. But when I went over there, I realized that I have come to the correct place, and I'm very happy to introduce this person, Dr. Martin Baker. Still today I call him, he is a professor, there's no doubt about that, but still we call him as Dr. Baker, who is my PhD supervisor and who believed in me at all the time. And I want to tell you this. Yes, my dissertation title is on synthesis, characterization, and application of metal nanoparticles supported on porous carbon. So I have worked with many nanoparticles and with many instruments. And I'll share one memory with you. My friend who was doing his PhD at Mississippi State, basically the next door, he was publishing papers a lot. And he had like a Chinese professor as a supervisor. And I had not published a single paper by that time. He might have published 5, 6. So I was very down about that. And one day, I came to my supervisor and I told him that I want to publish a paper in the Journal of Physical Chemistry C, which is ACS publication. Only thing what he told me, work with numbers. You will be able to. That's him. He is not a person who teach anything, but he believe in you. He would leave you, let you to fly, find the collaborations, find the instruments wherever it is, and I had to go to him. That's him. Basically, I'm being very honest to you. One day, I went to his office with tears in my eyes, and I told him, I'm done with my first paper, and I'm not going to publish a single paper anymore, because he gave me such a hard time. And today, of course, he doesn't know about this professorial lecture. I am here as a professor and as an independent person because of that person. He did not teach anything to me. And I wanted to publish a paper in the Journal of Physical Chemistry, which is a quite high impact journal, and I ended up in Carbon, which is a better journal than that, where I had to find my collaboration from the physics department, Dr. Paul, and I want to tell you, if he found that collaboration to me, I might not be able to find collaborations by my own today. So the whole credit goes to him, basically. So, not boasting, but I can see there are people who are in the avenue of reaching the destiny. So I want to tell you this. I'm the only person in the whole University of Alabama from the chemistry department who specialized all 5 or 6 instruments. I used all these instruments by my own. People who have a materials touch would understand this is not an easy job. The graduate student wanted to get their samples analyzed by the technicians, and I wanted to get trained. And on the day that I said goodbye to the instrument center, Richard, who was heading the instrument center, told me, if you're going to go and join with a place where you have to operate the instruments, I want to give you a recommendation because you love the instruments that much. And today even, absolutely we don't have this high-end instruments in our laboratory. Might be I'm loving the lab a lot because I'm used to and I'm trained to be. So these are the 3 journal publications that I have from my PhD. So basically, I'm not going to go into detail because I understand that the people are coming from different disciplines, so you may get bored by the end of the lecture or the talk. I don't want that to happen. So basically, yes, I have worked with carbon materials, then I have turned the amorphous carbon to graphitic materials, and by using metal nanoparticles, then of course I have worked with the gold nanoparticles and studied the kinetics of the ligand exchange. So yes, I have done quite a considerable work in my PhD, and I'm not going to go into detail. So on 2017 May, right after my convocation, I came to the country, and then I joined with the Institute of Chemistry for a very short time on part-time basis. In that, I learned to teach laboratory modules, and then of course the X-ray spectroscopy, and of course the advanced chromatography. And maybe in the very first I worked there on for 2 months, but still I'm catering to visiting lectures, and plus I'm supervising students. The chair professor from University of Ruhuna told me that, Jayaruk, it's very hard to see this type of behavior. Your teaching is very good. Till today, I have not listened to or heard a compliment about my teaching like that. That was just the second week right after joining with the Institute of Chemistry. So even today when I meet Professor Hema, I recall that memory to her. She's a very senior person. She was the chair professor at that time at the University of Ruhuna. She was visiting at IChem. She gave that compliment to me. So I'll be a little quick with this. So basically, I am supervising undergraduate students at IChem. So I have published some journal articles and conference papers and some book chapters. And in 2017, August, I landed in this place which is called as the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, and apparently which became my second home. So I was recruited as the first recruit of the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences, which was started in 2017, June or July. So my target was not easy, it was challenging, and from this moment onwards, I'll be mentioning one person's name. It's Dr. Malitha's name. And when I was preparing this presentation, when I was thinking about my journey, the patience that he has. Because he got, of course, Professor Ratnayaka, and Professor Gammage, and Dr. Malitha, and Professor Vedikkarge, they were in my interview board, and they recruited, of course, they recruited like a PhD holder who has specialized a subject, but he gave me a lot of work to do, which I know nothing about that. So, yes, during the weekend, I honestly felt you have a lot of patience. So, yes, I contributed to the development of the BE Ed in Biological Sciences, the curriculum, basically to face the review panel and do the compliance report and everything. And 1 month after, this gentleman who is seated over here, Professor Colin Pearce, joined with us. And of course, he started to do the staff development programs in 2018 February, sir. But before that, you taught me how to develop a curriculum, sir. Because by that time, we have got the approval to the BE Ed in Biological Sciences. So after that, of course, we worked together. Professor Shriyani is not here, who was the former head of the Department of Applied Sciences. We all worked together on BSc in Biotechnology, and then also we all worked on the BSc in Biomedical Science. So these are the 3 undergraduate degree programs that I contributed immensely to the development, and I'm very happy to say all 3 undergraduate degree programs are functioning well. So I'll make sure I'm going to be short in this. So this is my memory, basically. So one day, I don't know, Dr. Malta, can he remember this or not? It was Dr. Malta, me, and Professor Colin. We were at the 3rd floor of the new building. Now you all are seeing a huge developed floor as the 9th floor. No, we were at the 3rd floor, and very few of us, Ms. Chandrika, Mrs. Sirivardhana, blah, blah, like that, very few of us were together. So it was not divided into departments, but we were just like one faculty and one family. So Dr. Malta asked me to come to the 9th floor. No elevators. We had to climb up. And he showed me an area. At our left, my faculty people know what I'm talking about. So the F block office area was partitioned. And he showed me the right-hand side. And he told me, Jayaruk, I want labs. It was simply a hallway. Dr. Malta, I'm not boasting, but I'm talking the truth. It was simply a hallway, and it was totally dusty floor, and I was thinking what is he talking about? But I got it as a challenge. So my first thing was to develop the office area. So yes, I had to draw this, and I draw it on a rough paper, and I run to Dr. Malita, and again he corrects something, and I again come and I draw it. So day and night, I drew these things. We worked with so many suppliers. Take my word, a person who is coming right after PhD has no knowledge about financing, no knowledge about procurement, nothing. And I won't, okay, I'm coming to that slide, but let me come to this before that. Of course, then we developed the office area, and then we moved to the chemistry laboratory, which is a low-budget laboratory, I always say. And then, of course, we moved to the molecular biology laboratory, which is a high-end, not a high-end lab as such, but we spent a lot of money on that. And still, I can remember on the day that I told Dr. Malta, I need granite tops. He told me, come with the justification, Buddhini, that PR got 3 times rejected. But the molecular biology lab, instrument rooms, and the advanced biotechnology lab. And today, Professor Preeti, thank you so much. I'm sure you are seated somewhere. One day she told me, Puta, just go and see. Students are working in the labs that you developed with the staff. On that day, I realized, she's a very senior person to me, I have done something. So with that, I'm going to thank a few people. Mr. Pubudu Kaluarachi, the senior procurement manager, Ms. Buddhini Pereira, Senior Manager, Banking and Financing. Now she's handling the procurement as well. Mr. Gamini Vikram Singh, and of course later on, Mr. Suran Fernando. Today, whenever we meet, Buddhini, me, and Gamini and Pubudu, we have things to talk about. Even at 2 o'clock night, Buddhini sent a blasting email to me, and I'm sending a blasting email to her. But I'm saying this because we were in an argument to do the best to the institute. At that moment, Buddhini, we did not realize it, but that's how I worked with the procurement division. That's how I worked with the finance division, and I'm very thankful to them. They taught me what is CapEx, they taught me what is OpEx, and everything. And today, sometimes, whenever maybe someone else is raising the PR, now I'm not doing that, I realize it. Before changing my tone, that comes to my mind, okay, I also didn't know about this. So thank you. And then, from 2017 onwards, I'm representing the faculty in the library committee. Mrs. Pushpamala, our senior librarian, the person who taught me how to fill the PD1 form. For you guys, there's a fancy library over there in the new building, but to us, miss, the library was in the 3rd floor. So she literally taught me what to do, how to do, what are the book requests, how to make the book request, and then about the expographics, and about this supplier, that supplier. Thank you, miss. And then, of course, later on, she invited me to the library committee, to the human book as well. So I started, now you may think that did I teach? No, the first semester I did not teach at all. But the second semester, I got the privilege of teaching at the engineering faculty for the materials engineering degree program. And then, of course, after getting the students to our faculty, I started to teach in the B.Ed in Biological Sciences, and then we got the approval for the B.Ed, BEsc in Biotechnology, and I'm still catering to both degree programs. Might be, today, when we can't get into the elevators, we are a little upset with the students. Oh my God, these students are coming and we can't get into the elevators. Take my word, I dreamt of a day like that, where the whole building was with the only few staff members and there were no students. So when I see them, yes, sometimes I also get shocked, like, what are they doing? But no, I was dreaming of a day to see the new building with full of students. Of course, I do visiting lectures in the Institute of Chemistry still, but I did at University of Carolina and at KTU, and I'm not doing any visiting lectures anymore over there. So with that, let's move to the research, what I have been doing so far. So if I show you the areas of research interest, as correctly Professor Rajpaksha said, scattered everywhere, I would say. So yes, I started with the advanced pollutant remediation. And then, of course, as I'm catering to the biotechnology students, I had to think about that. So yes, now I have deviated to the biological and the biomedical applications of the nanomaterials. And of course, I have published some papers on targeted drug delivery. And then, of course, with the engineering faculty, I'm working with Professor Rajpaksha and Dr. Chandima. So basically, using nanomaterials in construction science. And very recently, I started to use nanomaterials for carbon dioxide capture and to use them as catalysts for the conversion of carbon dioxide. So let's talk about the water pollution. Yes, I'll be a little quick. So yes, we do understand that there are a lot of pollutants in water. And mainly, I focused on the textile dyes that are being released to the water. And take my word, ladies and gentlemen, we do have water to drink daily, but there are people, not only in Africa, not only in India, but also in our country, Sri Lanka, who have to walk miles and miles to get a clean pot of water to drink. Not to bath, not to cook, or not for anything else to drink. So yes, we are the people who are adding all the pollutants. Yes, we are responsible of that. And then, of course, I got interested in using natural materials for the water purification. So we know that we have ilmenite in the country, and we literally export the ilmenite. And then basically, I realized that, no, this is basically an advertisement that was in Sunday Observer or Sunday Times, if I'm not wrong. And with that advertisement, I decided, no, let me work with ilmenite. The main problem with ilmenite is that it has like a huge crystal structure, so it is not active. We had to break the structure. Then, of course, I worked with I'm still working with graphite. We being the Ceylon people, Ceylon graphite is the most purest graphite in the world. And of course, I worked with paddy husk and sugar cane, and I have combined these materials to develop nanocomposites, which can use to purify water. So basically, I started to publish articles in 2021, and then let me talk about this adsorption to remove dyes. So basically, we are developing an adsorbent to remove the dyes. So here, basically, sugar and urea was used as the precursor materials to develop a hierarchically porous material. So when the materials are hugely porous, the dyes can get easily adsorbed to the material, so we can remove the dyes from the water. So let me see whether this would work. So yes, so basically, as you can see, that this particular material is going to produce clean water. And then, of course, I have used the rice husk from us normal Sinhala word. If I say that's the haya, so basically it is very rich with silica. I have used rice husk to develop silica nanoparticles, which is an effective adsorbent to remove dyes. So then, of course, this is Himasha's work. Basically, I have used ilmenite to develop a new metal composite. It's only ilmenite, nothing else, but to develop a new composite of metal oxides, which acted as an adsorbent, and it, of course, adsorbed dyes. So the problem with the adsorption that I see is that like you are removing, you have like a dye or a pollutant molecule and you are absorbing it to like a different material. And so then, which means that the pollutant is somewhere else. It's not in water, but it's in somewhere else then. So then what to do with that? Again, the pollutant is existing somewhere. So that's why then I moved to like a different direction where I use photocatalysis, where I developed some nanocomposites which acted as catalysts to degrade the pollutants, to degrade the dye molecules into harmless products. So basically, we have the pollutant, but now we are degrading that product into harmless products, which is basically eco-friendly, and mostly by using sunlight as the energy source. So my ahead project was totally on ilmenite. So I started to work on some metal composites by using ilmenite, and basically my staff members helped me. So basically, initially I developed this material called pseudo blue titanium material as a photocatalyst. So we published that paper. And then I realized that it generated like a type 1 heterostructure, a little technical, but then, of course, it was not effective as I expected. So with that, I incorporated iron oxide, which turned out to be like a type 2 heterostructure where the activity enhanced dramatically. So then I realized that we are talking about white color pigment, ladies and gentlemen. The most commercializable white color pigment in the world is pure titanium. So we are simply exporting our ilmenite to other countries because they are working on ilmenite and they are getting the pure titanium, but we don't have the technique. So here we literally reported on how to get the pure titanium from ilmenite by a simple acid leach method, and of course after that to combine different metals with that and develop another metal nanocomposite which was very effective in degrading the pollutants. So that was about metal oxides, and then moving to coupling of the metal oxides with carbon. Ladies and gentlemen, we are a country who are very much rich with carbon sources. So yes, as I told you, we have like graphite. It could be at Bogalo, it could be at a different area, and we have the purous graphite. So by using graphite and combining that with the metal oxide that was synthesized by extracting the ilmenite, I developed like a new nanocomposite with graphene oxide, which was again very effective in degrading the dye molecules by simply using the sunlight as the energy source. Then, moving to the graphite, I moved to sugar cane. If you can might be at least from television news, you might have seen this. So people take the sugar out of sugar cane and simply you throw it away. That the carbon part, we are throwing it away. So simply by using that carbon part, we have developed like a new composite. These are catalysts where ilmenite and the carbon derived from the sugar of the sugar cane turn out to be like a good adsorbent as well as a good photocatalyst in degrading the dyes. So then I moved to like another different source, another waste material in the country, which is shrimp shells. Mostly we are very fond of eating prawns and shrimp, and then of course we throw the shell away. So when we collect the shrimp shell, and by simple washing and a pyrolysis process, we get nitrogen enriched carbon, and I have joined that particular carbon with the metal composites that I'm getting from the ilmenite to develop another nanocomposite, and simply one of our undergrad work on this project as well. Then, as an agriculture country, we are very much used to use urea as the fertilizer. Here I have used urea as the fertilizer, not as a fertilizer, as like the precursor for the precursor of carbon, and have joined that with the ilmenite to develop another nanocomposite that was very effective in degrading the textile dyes by using sunlight as the energy source. So that was all about my ahead project, where I used ilmenite, graphite, shrimp shells, graphitic carbon nitrate, a lot of things, which I guess I published about 13, 14 papers from my ahead project. And then, of course, it's not only the natural products, but also the synthetic chemicals are very promising when it comes to the fabricating of the nanocomposites, because when it comes to natural materials, it sounds very interesting, but economically, is it feasible? It's like a question mark. So when it comes to the synthetic chemicals, of course, we started to work with some synthetic chemicals. Let me go a little quick. So we have developed different metals and inorganic iron, doped titanium nanoparticles. And of course, then we combine that with the graphitic carbon nitride. And then, of course, we combine such a metal oxide with graphene oxide and reduced graphene oxide to develop the nanocomposites, which were effective in degrading the pollutants or basically the textile dyes in water. So that's all about water purification and moving to the biomedical applications of nanomaterials, because I understand that I'm catering to biotechnology students now. It's not the chemistry specializing students. So yes, first we determine the antibacterial activity of the polyethylene glycol coated or functionalized zinc oxide and copper oxide nanomaterials. This was Madara's piece of work. And then we move to a targeted drug delivery. So this is basically one of our undergraduate work where she has literally done a kinetic study of delivering curcumin using chitosan. And chitosan is a biopolymer which was derived from shrimp shells. So what she did is basically she got the chitosan from shrimp shells, and then, of course, the curcumin from turmeric, and then she combined those two, and she studied all the kinetics of delivering that compound, the curcumin, because curcumin is known to be potent drug for the Alzheimer's disease, but the main problem with that is that it cannot penetrate the blood-brain barrier, so that's why we are using a delivery system to penetrate the blood-brain barrier. So many people think that neem is known to be an antibiotic in traditional medicine, but neem is consisted of many phytochemicals which has a lot of other properties. So another undergraduate project where she studied the delivery of the active compound extracted and isolated from neem by using the chitosan biopolymer developed by shrimp shells. And this is like another volunteer work which was published quite recently. This particular undergraduate student extracted the active compounds from clove and nelly, and she loaded that to the chitosan and again functionalized it or coupled it with the copper oxide nanoparticles, and in that it was like a very detailed study at that, and that undergraduate student was very patient. I always say she's patient than me. So she did a very detailed study on this, starting from the latter part of the second year. She completed this work maybe at the fourth year of the first semester of the fourth year, and now she's working in Nestle, and she has a scientific reports publication. So again, another undergraduate research project where we know that the pomegranate has basically attracted many of our attention because it is known to have anti-cancer activities, but the main problem with the pomegranate active compounds is that once it is added to the bloodstream, there's a high chance that the active compounds can get degraded. So here we have developed another composite by using the chitosan developed from the shrimp shells and coupling that with the iron oxide nanoparticles for the targeted delivery of the active compounds of pomegranate with the anti-cancer properties. So let's move to now after talking about the biomedical sciences, I would like to talk about a little bit about how we incorporated the graphene oxide and the silicon nanoparticles to the construction materials to improve the morphology of the materials and the mechanical properties. This is a work that I did in collaboration with the Faculty of Engineering. And coming to the latter part of my research, very recently I started to work with the Nanjing University of China, where Professor Wenlei is my collaborator, and he came up with this idea where we have used the rice husk and the coconut husk as the material, and that we have used coupled that with the zinc stannic oxide nanoparticles. So basically, 3 of our volunteer undergraduate students work on this paper, and very recently it got published in ACS Environmental Gold. So I'll be a little quick with the review papers. Yes, in addition to the 30 plus index journal papers, I have published some review papers. So this was about leaching of ilmenite to produce titanium-based materials, and then of course ball milling as a technique to extract titanium materials from ilmenite, and then of course these two papers basically I wrote it by my own. So activity enhanced titanium nanomaterials for the photodegradation of dyes, and then how it would change when we couple it with the carbon rich materials. And this is basically an idea of an undergrad. So shall we, when I got this invitation, we were working on Kaito-san, and he simply asked a question, so shall we write the review paper on Kaito-san? So basically this paper, we all got together and we wrote this paper, and that paper is very much cited by now. So how would I do this research without the financial support? Because I'm like a material scientist, and basically my whole grant is going to the Sri Lanka Institute of Nanotechnology. So Slintech, there's no doubt in that. Basically my grants are literally going to Slintech. Yes, it is, because I'm working with nanomaterials, the materials that we cannot see to our naked eyes. So of course we need to do a lot of characterization to know what the material is. So how would I do it without money I got from the different sources? So yes, in 2020, I won a World Bank grant, and then 2022, a grant from India Sri Lanka Foundation, and very recently a grant from National Science Foundation. And of course, I have won 6 grants from my own institute, Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology. In addition to the book chapters, the journal papers and the review papers, I got interested of writing a book on nanotechnology, which I could launch last year. So thank you everyone who came to that. So it was a kind of a dream came true, because I literally wanted to write a book, because I believe there is a lack in that area in the country, because now the nanotechnology has been incorporated into the school curriculum even, but there are there are less qualified people to teach on that. And when I went to a school one day, a teacher came to me and asked nanotechnology is microbiology, right? So I understood that even the teachers are not aware about what's going on. So that's why I decided to write this book. So there are some researchers who have been with me from the beginning. Of course, Harinder from the Faculty of Computing, Dr. Harinder from Faculty of Computing, Dr. Hansini from Faculty of Engineering, and Dr. Chandi Mai recently started to work with Faculty of Engineering, and Madara, Shanita, and Himasha are own products. So basically they are assistant lecturers. Of course, now they have been promoted to lecturer rank. They have been working with me day and night. If they did not work with me, how would I publish these papers? Here, I'm not showing the photographs of the students, but I want to thank all the students who kept their belief on me, because they worked day and night, and that's how I could publish papers with the undergraduate students. But I felt that it's not ethical to add photographs of some of the undergraduate students over here, so I decided not to add the photographs of them. But I am truly, truly grateful to them. Till 10 o'clock in the night, they do their work. I'm still in the office. I'm doing my own work in the office, but they are working in the lab. And that's how they finished their piece of work in 3.5 months and publish in Q1 journals. The total credit should go to them. So my international collaborators, Professor Vignesaran from University of Technology, Sydney, I got that connection through NSF, and even till today he is helping me a lot. Very recently he visited SLIT as well, and he's in the Honorary Professor Network. Then Professor Gareth William I got to know about 2 years before, and who was the keynote speaker at PsyCash last year. He's the supervisor of one undergraduate project, one undergraduate volunteer project. So they are working on that. And then of course Professor Wenlei Zhu from Nanjing University. He's working with another undergraduate student, and then Dr. Nuwan Bandara, he's co-supervising another undergraduate student, and from our country, Professor R.D. Vijayasekara from University of Colombo, Professor Ashani Tilkaratna from University of Colombo, Dr. Jangika Dahanayaka from University of Kelaniya, and Dr. Upeka Samarakon from Wayamba University of Sri Lanka. Thank you. My salute to them. Then I would like to move to the science communication. We as the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences started to do this, the SciCash, our international conference in 2020, where I simply served as a subcommittee chair in 2020, and then with Kushanti, I served as the co-chair in 2021, and then of course in 2022 and 2023, I played some sub-roles, and in 2024, I got the privilege of chairing the whole conference. And then I would like to talk a little bit about the SciFest, where the signature event of the Department of Applied Sciences. I truly need to thank Dr. Malitha and Professor Shriyani for this, because when I came up with this idea, this name is basically Dr. Malitha's name, but I wanted to do a Science Day activity from the Department of Applied Sciences, and both of them gave me the 100% freedom to work on it. In 2023, when we started it, it was only a quiz competition and an exhibition. But when it comes to 2024 and 2025, we introduced the Young Innovators Competition, which has basically attracted the interest of many school students by today. So let me talk a little bit about the National Service. Yes, as correctly the professors told, yes, I'm a part of SLAS, Sri Lanka Association for the Advancement of Science. So over there, I'm a committee member of 2 committees, E2, which is for the chemical sciences, and then, of course, a committee for the popularizing science, CPS. So these 2 committees, I'm blessed, and I'm very thankful to SLAS, of course, to Professor Udain, who is chairing SLAS this year. So I got the privilege of going to different schools in different areas. I don't like to use the word remote areas, but I want to tell you that they are faraway places. So when we go over there, I always say this, we started to realize what the life is. So here we don't see that type of a life in Colombo, but when you go to Hambantota or Savaragama, Belihula, areas like that, you start to realize what the life is. So let me simply share one experience. When we went to Belihulhoya one day, of course I traveled with my mother, and the other team is going by their own. We did the science day, and we were supposed to finish the science day by 1:30, but the schedule was to finish the science day by 3 o'clock. And when we asked the question, this is not the only place that came up with this problem, and what they told me is that no sir, we want students to catch the bus at 1:45. Why? If not, they are going to get the elephant attack. We did the science day at the Sabaragama University. Of course, as we promised, we finished the science day by 1:30, and we let the students to go. And then, of course, we had lunch, and we had a van, and we wanted to go to some different beautiful places to see them. Obviously, we like to see beautiful places. It was an air-conditioned van with black color shutters. So basically, even we are not getting the sunlight into the van. We are the resource person who went from Colombo. When we were going there to see the Samanala, basically, we saw one team who won the quiz competition was walking, wearing rubber slippers, right adjacent to an elephant fence. That's how we call it. On that day, I realized, what are we doing? We are in an air-conditioned van, and we are going to see the beautiful places. We are coming from Colombo, and the students who have actual need are still walking. It was 3 o'clock. We had lunch and all the happiness moments, and still they are walking. They have missed the bus. So they are walking to their homes, they are walking right next to or adjacent to the elephant fence. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I always say this, there's a responsibility to us to do to the society. So I have published some newspaper articles. I started to write to Vidusar in 2023, if I'm not wrong, and where I wrote many articles on subject-oriented materials, and later on, now it has come to a different direction. Now I have to represent SLAS and write the newspaper articles on SLAS activities. So I'm very thankful to SLAS to doing everything to me and shaping me to be a real professor from the depth of his meaning. And when it comes to social service to the country, I want to mention about the faculty event that we organized for the 3rd time this year in another 1.5 weeks. Of course, not even 1.5 weeks of time, we have the National Educator Awards. So National Educator Awards was designed by Dr. Malitha to basically evaluate and recognize and appreciate the educators in both the higher education sector and the school education sector of the country. And I got the privilege to be the secretary of the working committee in 2023, 2024, and 2025, where I'm still handling the application of the higher education category. I believe that year by year we are improving, we are developing, and I believe I'm very happy to be a part of this national service as well. So coming to the very end of my presentation, envisioning the future, what do I want to do after today maybe? So yes, I'm not good in teaching, I always believe in that. I want to improve. My teaching methods would not apply to the next generation. Because we as teachers have to evolve. We can't say that I'm like a blackboard teacher. No, that generation has changed totally. So yes, I want to learn the new tools and explore the new tools and apply those new tools to teach the students. And this is one of my dreams, to have the MPhil PhD status to our faculty, to each and every department. And yes, we have started to work on it, and let's expedite it and let's work on it. Because when it comes to the convocation, we do have the undergraduate students, we do have the master students being convocated, but do we have MPhil and PhD students? Maybe 2 or 3. So if we want to reach the university status one day, and if we want actually to go to the higher in the ranking system in the world, we have to produce more MPhil and PhD students. And for the moment, being very honest, this is my dream to the faculty. I want to bring the MPhil PhD degree awarding status to each and every department in the faculty. Of course, I'm very passionate in doing research, and I don't feel lazy when in doing research, so I want to publish more journals, and of course in high impact journals, find more collaborations, and I feel like I don't have a single patent, so it's like a challenge to me. Okay, let me work on that and get patents as well. And we very recently established the Center of Research Excellence in Sustainability and Green Innovation. Through that, through the other collaborations, we believe that we can publish patents and actually commercialize and bring the products to the market as well. And of course, yes, as I correctly told, I really want to see that here we are an institute. I want to see that we are getting the university rank, the name. Here we say it as Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology. So it's an institute still. We are a higher education institute, and I want to bring the university status to the institute. And yes, we are doing very good for the moment. We are at the joint number 3 in the at the ranking system, but we want to be number 1. And I want to see that SLIIT is going to be number 1 before I retire. That's like a dream. So yes, then of course, more than everything, I want to treat and help the society to disseminate science, to disseminate my knowledge, and basically go to the grassroots and bring the next generation, because I totally need to understand that. Yes, as I correctly said, I'm 39, so I'm day by day, I'll be old one day, so there has to be someone to take my place. So for that, it's not the Royal or Visakha, not even Richmond College and Southlands from Goa, no, not even Malayadeva or not anyone, the known, the known schools, because they have the correct education system in their schools. I believe we as an academics should go to the places where the correct education is not being given, and let's promote the science education. We think that students love to do science. No. According to the statistical data of the Ministry of Education, students are deviating from science and they are moving to arts. That's the bitter truth. We believe that no, people are very, there's like a mania of doing science, but according to the statistics that we obtained from the Ministry of Education to the SLAS, students are deviating from science because they believe science is hard, which is not at all. So with that, let me come to the conclusion of my lecture, or the talk, or the speech. So I want to thank my family first. I personally believe my father is looking at all of us, all the family being somewhere. I don't know where that is, but it's my belief, basically. And then, one small thing about my mother. Ladies and gentlemen, as I told you, I lost my father when I was at the nursery age, 2 months before I go to the grade 1. So my mother took me to the school wearing a white color sari, and she told me this, of course she keeps saying this, it was a surprise that all the other students of grade 1 started to cry on the very first day, and Puta, it's a surprise, you did not cry. And she felt that you consciously or unconsciously, you felt that your amma is going through a hard time. So I believe that I have done something to her, but not what she expected either. So, yes, I want to thank my sister and my brother who are living in United Kingdom now, and of course the little Binuka who became my life partner after 2014. And then, yes, my seniors, the Chancellor, Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, Vice Chancellor, Professor Lalit Gamage, Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor and Provost, Professor Nimal Rajapaksha, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Saman Halgamage, another person who is actually encouraging me to do research a lot. And then Pro Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Rahul Attalage. Sir, I know you will not like this to hear this. If Jayaruk is doing research after returning to this country, it's because of this person. And then Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Sciences, Dr. Malitha Vijay Sundara. As I correctly told you, you have a lot of patience. Thank you for being with me for the last 8+ years, and believing in me. What governs me is that trust that you have on me. And of course, I want to thank Professor Sriyani Piris. She retired very recently, but she's the former head of the Department of Applied Sciences, who was with me at all the time when I applied for the promotions, and like whenever I came up with different ideas of doing research, she never said no to that. And I want to tell you this, I know that students are not listening to this, but in state universities, labs are closed at 4:30. But in Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology, we have taken that responsibility. Of course, we have to stay. That's a different story. Till 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, students are working, and they are flourishing more than the state university students today. So, and then, of course, I'm not going to go with name by name. To all my colleagues of my faculty and all my colleagues of SLIIT, thank you so much. You would have helped me even from a word. You might have encouraged me even from a word. How would I come to this position today after 8 years serving to the faculty? And today I have a totally different responsibilities to handle. Thank you, my examination unit. Thank you, my all colleagues, everyone who's supporting to the uplift of our faculty. People say Faculty of Humanities Sciences is the youngest, but to me, it is the strongest. Thank you so much.
Bridging Science and Society from Ideas to Impact. That indeed was a great lecture. Professor Jayaruk, thank you very much for gracing us with your invaluable lecture session. Your dedication to scholarship and excellence in sharing your knowledge are truly commendable. Thank you for providing us with this enlightening and enriching experience. As we have come to the conclusion of this remarkable event, it is my privilege to invite Pro Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Rahul Attalage, to deliver the vote of thanks.
A very good evening to all of you. Thank you very much, the compeer. We have witnessed a very eloquent, encouraging, and inspiring oration by our very own Professor Charitha Jayaruk Tamiliyagodage at his inaugural professorial lecture, and this is the first one for this particular year, if I'm not mistaken, those who got promoted this year. And I'll be failing if I try to synthesize everything that he highlighted from the cradle to the vision that he's planning with all the verticals. Well, as expected by the professorial lecture, he very well demonstrated his contributions to the academic development and the institution development, giving examples of laboratory development, initiating conferences, and also the activities related to the society. And in research, he explained how he worked hard, teaming, and putting all the efforts to extend the boundaries of knowledge, experimentation, methodologies, data interpretation, and whatnot, looking towards an original contribution. And with that, he also indicated what are his research outputs and how he endeavored to extend the output towards an outcome, research outcome, enabling to serve and envisaging to the society, not only Sri Lanka, and also beyond. And activities related to the social support is very well acknowledged, and he enumerated, elaborated, and with examples and his own experience. I am sure with this contribution, our strategic plan goal of positioning ourselves in the higher rankings and visibility, his contribution is very special, and already, as Professor Nimal indicated, being cited, ranked in the top 2% of the LCVA and Stanford researchers. And that, again, brings the contribution towards academic reputation to our institute being enabled and increasing the potential of being ranked in our top-level reputed international world ranking schemes. Further, as this was diffused through social media, I am sure this would have enabled to forge more partnerships and collaborations with the industry and also other academia who had been watching this. And also, the objective of this oration or the professorial lecture is not only to listen to his contribution, also to celebrate and also to congratulate him at the beginning of this journey, which he indicated the vision towards the remaining part of the academic career, calling, support, and teaming from the colleagues, not only from his faculty and also from the other faculties of this institute and the collaborations beyond the institute as well. So with that brief summary, I would like to extend my sincere thanks as I am assigned to make to our Chancellor, Professor Lakshman Ratnayaka, at this juncture for making the initial remarks and setting the platform for this event. Then our Senior Deputy Vice Chancellor and Provost, Professor Nimal Rajapaksa, for setting the tone by introducing the orator for the today's occasion. And our special guest, beloved mother of Professor Jayaruk, Mrs. Kusuma Yatramulla, for being with us, encouraging the orator, and also sharing the pride with the audience today. And my other colleagues, deans of the faculties, other colleagues from the Faculty of Humanities and Sciences, academia from other faculties, and also the non-academic and administrative staff of the Sri Lanka Institute of Information Technology. And if I'll be failing in my duties if I do not extend our gratitude to the Human Capital Division, IT Services Division, Academic Affairs, Facilities Management Division, and last but not least, my own division, Instructional Resources Center. With that, looking forward to meeting you again in the next inaugural professorial lecture that will be scheduled by the human HR for the next for the recently promoted next professor, and wishing you all the very best, and wishing all the very best to Professor Jayaruk, and I will remain wishing the best for the next part of the event. I believe it will be the celebration. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Atalge, for your gracious word. With that, we draw today's session to a close. And before we conclude, I kindly request everyone to rise for the national anthem as a mark of respect for our nation.
Sweet.